like to start the proceeding by introducing Charles Smith.
Well, I was the Master of Ceremonies.
Louder. Louder.
I was Master of Ceremonies for the event 50 years ago.
Louder.
50 years older than I was then. I'm 60 this year.
Wow.
And with me is Stephen Meeks. He is the head of the Albemarle Historical Association, which is one of the leaders. And next to him is Preston Pointer. Preston Pointer is organizing this thing, and I know he's been doing a lot of organizing because he's been in touch with me quite often, quite frequently, and he's been doing a superb job. I'd like to introduce you to the crowd and have you say what you want to say.
Thanks, Charles. 50 years ago, Charlottesville celebrated its bicentennial celebration, and as part of the activities of that year, a time capsule was placed in the ground. And as you can see behind us, there's some photographs of that event. So there was documentation as to where that time capsule was placed. Unfortunately, nobody put an X on the spot where it was put in. So for the past year, you've been hearing in the media the search for the time capsule that was lost and such. But it really wasn't lost. We knew it was here. We just didn't know exactly where on the slab it was at. We decided to unearth it now because to coincide with the Celebrate 250's inaugural Virginia Festival of History. Celebrate 250's put in a week-long event of lectures, activities, events like this to celebrate and showcase Charlottesville's 250 years of existence. Now, underneath of this metal plate lies a time capsule, but to get to it took the efforts of some very willing city employees who will be introduced in a few minutes. One thing we learned is that there were 12 inches of concrete on top of the time capsule. The reason being there were 2 levels of sidewalk, so indeed there might have been a mark indicating where the time capsule was under the lower level of sidewalk. We did not see that. So when they poured the second layer, it probably was covered at that point in time. So the plan is I'll let Preston introduce some of our very, very distinguished guests. Many were here in 1962, and then we will extract the time capsule and carry it across the street in front of the old Albemarle County Jail, where we will receive the both of them and display the contents. So with that, Preston.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Charles, for the kind remarks. Stephen mentioned that the city was involved with the removal. Let's say 2 officials with the city.
Put the mic closer to your mouth, please. Put the mic closer to your mouth.
Can't hear.
Yes, ma'am, I will. I don't like to get things too close to my mouth. Anyway, there are 2 folks with the City Public Works Department that arranged for things. There's Lance Stewart and Dale Miller. And Dale was I have a soft voice and I'm supposed to yell. Okay, everyone hear me now? Yes. Okay, but I want to give some special thanks to Richard Hunt and Steve Smith, who spent 5.5 to 6 hours with a jackhammer, concrete saw, crowbars, shovels, and at least 3 supervisors eating donuts. And Stephen and I were the supervisors. In 1962, there were 6 individuals named by the mayor to see that the city of Charlottesville became aware of the 200th anniversary celebration. We have, I believe, 3 or 4 of them with us today, and I'd like to introduce them. It's Will Scribner. Yeah, Will is right here. Will's father was the mayor then, and his photograph is right here with the shovel. Will, we really appreciate you being here. Robin Lee. Robin's dad was a city council at the time, and I believe a contractor for this building. Jamie Gibson was to be here, but I haven't seen him. Linda Bowen, who was the city manager's daughter. She was to be here. Then Scott Bassery was one of those named. Scott was the 2-year-old son of John Bassery, and John bought the Capsule to its final resting place. He has some health issues, and he won't be here today. We've not really organized how we will remove this, but we do know that a number of you people got to move. So if you all just step on back this way. Back this way.
We're gonna move us one way or the other, so we might as well nice
There it is. As recorded, there's 18-inch craft steel box painted green, so we know we had the right time capsule. It happened to be made by a local machine shop that's no longer in business, but we thank them for that. Everyone who wants to get a good look at it, do so now. The photo ops. Hey, much applause now.
I'll try.
We will now take it over in front of the county jail and conduct the rest of the ceremony there. I'd like to suggest to you that if you move over the chairs over here, it'll be behind the capsule.
While we're waiting for the opening of the time capsules.
Closer to your mouth.
We have read the papers recently in the last couple of weeks in Richmond, Virginia, where I lived for about 6 years during my 86 years, just after World War II and before. And in Richmond, Virginia, they found a time capsule about 2 weeks ago that had been buried 100 years ago. And they'd forgotten about it. Somebody remembered it, and so they dug it up. It was in the cornerstone of the battlefield, Battle Abbey, which is now the Confederate Museum, I believe, in Richmond. That was only about 2 blocks from where I lived, which was near the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, and also where the Confederate Old Soldiers' Home used to be. And I used to go over there in the Old Soldiers' Home and see Battle Abbey on the end and the old soldiers encampment. And see some of these old soldiers. I was pretty young at that time. And in 1937, I could see these old soldiers marching with the United Doors of the Confederacy who were right next door. And I enjoyed that a whole lot. I was glad to see about this recent opening of the capsule, in which they found a lot of documents, including, I think, Confederate money, which I don't think is any good anymore, except as a souvenir or a collection. That was an interesting event for me. The second event is one that happened in 1962. You saw the picture over here of General Chester Cole, who was the most decorated Marine general, not just Marine general, of any Marines. But he still remains to be the most decorated Marine ever. And he's dead now, of course, but he still has the record. And we had him that day. We had a number of notables. We talked about the folks who are here. For example, Jamie Gibson, Lionel Key's son. You're Lionel Key as well. And this is Sarah Key, you're right. Lionel Key was the head of the fire department in Charlottesville at that time. And not only that, he was in charge of the Reason County Fire Department fair they had there too. Very active in the community. Robert, This is Martin Lee, and his dad was very important in the sense of the community. He was involved with the community as a builder, contractor, and he did the work on the Charlottesville City Hall and the new city court that we just ransacked a few minutes ago. So it's good to have you with us. And this is Will Scribner, whose dad, Louis Scribner, also was instrumental in bringing Sperry Piedmont to Charlottesville, which was a great job opening opportunity for Charlottesville at that time. And it's good to see you here too, Will. Let's see who we got in the back row. We've got Kristen Safos, and she's the Vice Mayor of Charlottesville. Next to her is Maurice Jones. He's the manager of the city of Charlottesville. I've known Maurice for maybe 10 or 15 years altogether. Great guy, wonderful city manager. And then who else do we have? Mark Brown. Mark, tell me about you. Well, you need to be introduced then. As you all hear that, he's co-chair for the Charlottesville 250 exhibits that we're having this year over to the next. If we have not, we'll proceed. The only other thing I wanted to pass on, what's the name of the lady back there? Can't see her label. Margot? Oh, Margot, okay. You know who you are. You used to be the queen of the city of Charlottesville back in 1962. Thank you for showing your tag so I could identify it. I should have done better. We heard that. She said, all right, she had turned around. Anyhow, have we introduced everybody now? Have we forgotten anybody at all? No? I do want to tell you about another guy over here, and that's Ed Roseberry. He and I are just about the same age. I think he's a little older than I am. But he did all the photography at that time, and he was a fantastic, and still is, a fantastic photographer. To be able to find this box, and because he had the photographs for it. Now, one thing I want to tell you about is one time capsule that is still out in space. It was released after 1962, about 3 years or so after that, I believe, maybe even more, because it's been in space now for something like 35 years. Voyager 1, Voyager 2 carry a golden time capsule in those voyages. Now, whether anybody's going to ever see it or not is going to be another question, because they have to go through the heliosphere, which is the coverage of our group of planets that we have with the sun, and pass on to the Milky Way galaxy, which is our next trip. They're going to be doing that over the next 2 to 3 years. So if it survives that, which we believe it will pass easily. And we're going to have some interesting information coming back maybe 3 years after that about their time capsule. We'll just get down to ours right now. You got it all ready? I think we're ready. Okay. That's gold painted green, or is it green painted gold? Okay. Anybody going to open this thing up?
Thanks again, Charlotte. At this point, we're going to ask Will, Robin, Barbara to come up, and each one is going to take a shot at getting one of the bolts. There are actually 8 lag screws on the top of this that need to be removed to open it up. The Preston has all the tools necessary if you run the difficulties. Once the time capsule is open, I'm going to ask that Carrie Matthews step forward. Carrie is the Historical Society's archivist, and she will be helping to remove the contents. Following the ceremony today, whatever we find in here will be put on display at the Historical Society in the old McIntyre building, which is Charlottesville's first public library.
Can you all speak up? Don't leave me. Oh, no. Okay, I'm all right. Okay, you're right.
Let him help you.
All right, Preston, come on.
Let him help you.
Ah! I did it. Well, I half did it.
The rest of the ones you take the last one. Let's do it together.
Nothing in it, right? Waldo Rivera's
No news is good news.
Apparently it was not watertight.
No.
Suitable for display at the Historical Society. There are a couple copies in the archives, and we'll put one up. I can't talk and hold the thing up at the same time. Anyone have a reel-to-reel tape player?
I got one.
The records indicate that this is a speech of the then governor that was done at one of the presentations at the Lane High School field of the play that Freedom Ring, and the communications department of the city has agreed to see if we can get it onto something that we can listen to it.
This was a commemorative plate that was done for the Memphis celebration. It had the seal on it and Jefferson in the center. Turn it around. As you can see, the contents have not survived very well. Tremendous amount of damage.
You'll find better shape at the house.
So I don't know what this is
Those of you who were around in 1962, you know you had these plates still. All right. Steve and I have several, and we do use them. I have to hide it from Julie because she sometimes breaks stitches. In 1962, the men of Charlottesville celebrated the bicentennial, becoming the Order of the Cavaliers. They grew beards, and also had a burial service up at Jackson Park of Mr. Razor, who we think Mr. Razor may still be resting in peace, or someone dug him up decades ago. In addition to this little bow tie, and I think Ed Roseberry had his on. Oh, Ed had it. And Ed's also wearing his chapter button for the Order of the Cavaliers. The women also had a competition. They were the bicentennial bells. Nice little, I believe, a pink ribbon with a little bell on the bottom. Barbara, you don't have yours on? Oh.
I got one over here. It wasn't a pink ribbon, it was a little round button. This is what it looked like. It didn't have a bell on it at all. It was one of those 10 years.
All right, thank you. We ask you to accept our word. There's nothing else in here that we can retrieve, but we can at least tell you about some of the things. There's a letter in there from then the Mayor Louis Scribner, and it's a letter addressed to our current mayor. Our current mayor's out of town, our vice mayor. The contents of the letter was shared with her, so I think she may make some remarks relating to it. And Will Scribner is the son of Mayor Scribner, and he's to say a few words.
What I remember about that day is getting in the car with my parents and driving back to our house, and on the way I said, good Lord, I'm going to be 63 years old when I come back and open this thing. It is interesting how the years go by. Charlottesville, although I don't live too far away, I get here often, but Charlottesville is still the same lovely small southern college town that I grew up in. I hope you appreciate it as much as a place to grow up as I did. Vice Mayor Zabo.
Well, I was expecting to have a slightly walking away with the court. I was expecting to have a slightly more recent reading of the letter before I responded to it. But I will say that a lot of, I did get a kind of a print sheet version ahead of time. And what the previous mayor was asking is that the mayor today would recognize that we have a responsibility not only to our constituents, not only to the people of our own time, but to the people of the future. And he was, in creating this time capsule, sort of recognizing the fact that what they did then would affect what we do now. And so I think that even though the things themselves are largely destroyed, the effects of that period on our period are felt all the time. And I just wanted to just mention a couple of things. For those of you who don't remember 1962 terribly clearly, I was 3. I remember some things. But I know that William Faulkner was finishing up his last semester teaching at UVA. So he might have been here, who knows. The city population was about 30,000. The county was about the same. The state governor was Alberta Sidney Harrison, Jr. It was the year that Vinegar Hill was raised. It was also the year the Belmont Bridge was built. And Greenbrier Elementary opened this following fall. And this is the year that Lane High School started its 5-year, 53-game winning streak. And something else that was important that was in the middle of happening at that time, may have been important in that winning streak, was the integration of the Charlottesville City Schools. And finally, on a slightly lighter note, Art Garfunkel actually lived here in 1962, Simon and Garfunkel, and he helped to market the 1962 city song in commemoration of the anniversary. Nationally, the president, of course, was John F. Kennedy. The Aurora 7 space capsule had just finished orbiting the Earth 3 times last month. And James Meredith, a escorted by federal marshals, would register at the University of Mississippi in the fall. It was a year before the I Have a Dream speech. It was a time just kind of poised on a very different trajectory of history, one that seems very familiar to us now. But I was thinking as we were doing this that both our current mayor, Satendra Singh, and I would be a surprise to the people who were leaving this to the mayor of 2012. So to the people of 1962, thank you very much for the legacy that you have left us, and I hope that we can leave as promising a legacy to the next generation.
Bicentennial ballot, there's at least one known copy. There also is a letter in here from the Fire Chief Lionel Key to the Fire Chief of 2012. And for those of you that didn't know Lionel, he was just a great, great individual, involved a lot with all civic responsibilities. I called him a friend, although he was an older friend. And we are pleased today that Lionel's son and daughter are here with us. It's Lionel Key Jr. that we call Skeeter, and his sister Sarah. I'm really sorry that we're not able to give to both our fire chief, our volunteer fire chief, but I think Lionel is still in the hearts and minds of everyone in the Charlottesville Fire Department. Would you agree? All right.
Well, he would like to be here. He'd be 107 right now. He always told me he wanted to make it past 100, and he came close, but he loved this city very much.
And I would like to echo what Will said. This was a wonderful place to grow up. And even though Skeeter and I are look at elsewhere, excuse me. Charlottesville's always been our hearts, and it will always be our home. And hopefully someday we will see that. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you for inviting
Earl and Skeeter to escape the heat came up from Florida, I believe, did you not? So welcome. We'd like for our city manager, Maurice Jones, to make some comments. Maurice?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today. It's an honor to be here for this once-in-a-50-year event. I can only imagine what our friends in 1962 were thinking when they thought about their future. Hopefully it wasn't as hot as they were putting that time capsule in that day. I do know that nationally at that point, there was a real focus on space travel and air travel. Getting to the moon was a goal of our young president at the time, President Kennedy. And as he looked to the stars for inspiration, others envisioned a future where we would zoom around in hovercrafts and jetpacks around our neighborhoods. And I have to admit, as a child, I was intrigued by that idea. I loved the idea of floating above my friend's house and throwing water balloons down. I think of water balloons today, I gotta tell you. And so that was kind of the futuristic look that we had in 1962 of jetpacks and the Jetsons and people flying around in space cars. And that was pretty cool. And unfortunately, I'm afraid that I'll have to wait a few more years to put on my own jetpack and fly around. And the unearthing of this time capsule brought with it a tremendous amount of anticipation and excitement today. We were anxiously awaiting the opening of the time capsule because we're fascinated by what was inside. The contents of the capsule gives us not only a glimpse of what city leaders thought about and thought was important 50 years ago, but it will also give us a good look at what Charlottesville was in 1962. What were the community's values? Who provided the vision for Charlottesville? What were their hopes and their dreams? We'll find that out soon enough, as soon as we can read that newspaper again. Pull that out. But as we were prepared to unseal this container that was buried beneath the red clay of Central Virginia for so long, it got me thinking about the future of Charlottesville. What are our hopes, dreams, and vision for Charlottesville? When another generation of Central Virginians unearth our time capsule 50 years from now, what will they know about our community? And what will they know about our aspirations compared to what is their reality? Well, I have some idea about what our near future will look like based on the City Council's 2025 vision for Charlottesville. We refine this vision every couple of years or so, but the core of the vision remains the same: to make Charlottesville a great place to live for all of our citizens. So what does that mean for our community? How will we look 50 years from now? Well, if we work hard enough and stay focused, I believe our city will continue to be an economic and social center for the region. We will have vibrant neighborhoods and commercial corridors that will provide the goods and services that folks from around our region will seek, including a downtown that continues to serve as a social gathering place for folks from around our region, state, and our nation. We will have a strong business climate that creates jobs that are on the cutting edge of technology and helps to lift people out of poverty. We will have an educational system that is second to none and works with community partners to ensure that kids from different backgrounds will have opportunities to succeed in life. We will have a city government where community involvement and civic engagement has become ingrained in our DNA. We're enhancing the quality of life for our residents, businesses, and visitors is our primary mission. We will have a network of bicycle and pedestrian lanes and trails that will promote the healthy lifestyle that so many people of varying ages are seeking. We will have a well-connected transit system that will help lessen our reliance on cars to get from one place to another. We will have an enhanced park system that provides recreational and leisure opportunities for all. We will have a community that has put our complicated and troubled history of race relations behind us and is moving forward together to promote the value of diversity in Charlottesville. We will have quality, safe housing that accommodates folks from all economic backgrounds. We will be the community that we dare to dream about today. A community that remains a great place to live for all of its residents. And hopefully, a community where jetpacks have become an everyday way of life, especially for retired city managers. Thank you for being here today, and congratulations.
Certainly as disappointed as we are today with so many of the contents that self-destructive. We should not be critical of those who put them in this box and buried this. They wanted to send a message to us in 2012 of what Charlottesville was all about. And it's still pretty much the same thing, a little different, but the same place, the same faces to some extent. The burial of time capsules 50 years was not an everyday occurrence. It's possible that the word time capsule may not even have been in the dictionary as such. We will be burying another time capsule on December 23rd. It will be in front of the Alma Charlottesville Historical Society. And it will be marked with a granite marker. And it will be of a material that we hope that the items put in it will survive. And I want to thank y'all for being here today and turn the program over to Stephen.
Disappointment. So after Mark, I'm going to invite Mark Allows us to say a few words in a moment, my co-chair for the Celebrate 250 celebration. But afterwards, you're more than welcome to come up and take a look at this. What we've experienced here is sadly what has happened to a lot of time capsules. Water infiltration, dampness infiltration. You know this wasn't a sealed vault. Moisture, it's amazing how moisture can find its way into things. But we weren't very hopeful when we first took the concrete off the top of it to see that the box was intact. The science for time capsules has changed a lot, and what we do put in the ground in December of this year will be archivally sleeved. Hopefully everything will be made completely waterproof and watertight, so 50 years hence, I hope all the young people here will be back here in 50 years to see the opening of that time capsule. We're collecting items for the time capsule right now. In November the 11th, the anniversary of legislation that was passed creating Charlottesville, we're planning a major gala event for the entire weekend. 11th, 12th, and 13th. And at that event, we hope to have on display a lot of the contents, the proposed contents that will be going in that time capsule. So you'll be able to see what will be going in there, and maybe even be invited to place something in the time capsule yourself. But hopefully we'll do a better job for the next go around. So Mark, sure, stand up. Everybody should have received, hopefully they received a schedule of all the other events and activities that are going on this week. And this afternoon at 5:30 in front of the Historical Society, there'll be a walking tour that will sort of cover some of the geology of some of the stones and minerals that we use in construction of Charlottesville, and that's going to be for the Historical Society.
I need to make one final comment. Stephen said we hope that all the young people would be at in 2062. We want everyone there, including ourselves. So take care of yourselves so you can say that you're involved in 2 or 3 different time capsules. And I hope you just mark our lives.
Thank you, Preston. It is I just want to give in my closing remarks of today a little bit more on what is happening. It is exciting to be here to see different generations that from Charlottesville's history. And this whole week we're going to be celebrating Charlottesville's history through a series of lectures, tours, concerts, living history, many different programs. We hope you will sure and get information back on the wall over here. I know is listed some of the information this week. It's important that we come together. I invite you to come together. You're going to hear more stories from different people, from great experts who are talking about our local history. And just want to invite you tomorrow, especially. Tomorrow we focus on 250 years of our nation's history of service and in the military service. Will be tomorrow's lectures and events will be at Grace Community Church, which is right over here on Market Street across the City Hall. But then the next day will be 250 years of African American history. Wonderful speakers. At noontime, there's Dr. Maureen Lee from Richmond, from the Virginia African American History Museum will be speaking. There's other speakers throughout the day. And then the next day is 250 years of religion, education, and culture, various speakers. The next day, 250 years of architecture, design, and development. And another day was 250 years of the growth of our neighborhoods. So every day is great, different programs, about 4 different lectures and a tour every day. And so I invite you to make sure you find out about that, be a part of it. It's all free. There is a Thursday night special event in the Omni Hotel that you should RSVP for. There will be 3 experts from historical organizations, the head of Williamsburg, the Virginia Historical Society in Richmond, and here at University of Virginia's Department of History. They'll be talking about, in this inaugural Virginia Festival of History, just what kinds of things we might benefit from having an annual Festival of History every year. Just what things we can learn and what are the advantages and prospects for this week's festival continuing year after year. So, and then next Saturday and Sunday was the Living History Days right here at Court Square in Lee Park all day long. There's going to be about 60 characters from Charlottesville's past, 200 years, that you can meet and encounter on these 2 parks. You'll be able to talk to them, and living historians will be making those people come alive. It's going to be a great program next weekend, so I invite you out to all of those things. I do want to just say at the very end also, the way we're going to conclude now is we want to invite up here everybody that was a part of the 1962. If you were here then, we invite you up here. We're going to take a group photo of everybody from 1962 to join us up here. And also, just as one final thing, I have a program. I wasn't around here in 62, but I have a program from them. If you were here in 62, I want you to sign my program. So don't leave without doing that, so I can have your memory here to be a part of this as well. So November is exciting. Also, you'll see on the wall the Grand Gala, going to be at JPJ Arena. And then also at, that's on Sunday night, November 11th, great program with big, music and people, celebrities from our community, people from the past will be there. But then also there will be on Monday, November 12th, there will be the governor will be here to speak, and other official ceremonies will be taking place. There's going to be a variety of other things, prayer breakfast, maybe a community run, a jog. There's anyway a lot of different things. November 11th, 12th that weekend. So look forward. That'll be the big culminating thing in the fall. Okay, without any further ado, we invite all the 1962 people. Please come join us right up here. Everybody, 1962, you're here. Come join us.